Hello everybody, how's it going? It's me, Crendor, and welcome back to another Almost Too Old for This, the channel where I react to Jesse Cox's Too Old for This channel, where he reacts to content for Gen Z and Gen Alpha. Today, we are reacting to From Viral Sensation to Nightmare, Too Old for BookTok Drama. So, I mean, I've heard of BookTok here and there. I kind of know of BookTok, but I don't know, like, the in-depth analyses of BookTok. You know what I'm saying? So, this one's 43 minutes. Let's get going.
All right, we're doing this again, and this time we're delving into the world of BookTok.
All right.
Now, if you don't know what that is, don't worry. I didn't really know what it was until one of the podcasts I'm on. I was about to say Cox and Crendor, but it might have been Geekenders. I don't know. In one of them, we were talking about BookTok and
It was definitely Geekenders.
something called romantasy. Hopefully that's...
Oh, wait. Actually, it might have been Cox and Crendor, because I think I did bring up romantasy at one point. Carry on.
That's the term.
It might actually have been Cox and Crendor. Look at
that. Erotic novels for the ladies or guys. I don't know. But it's, you know, things like My Date with the Centaur or 3 Nights with the Ogre Queen. Like that kind of stuff. Anyway, what BookTok is basically the book section of TikTok. It's where people go to hawk their books that they're going to self-publish or whatever. And people comment on it. And people read them and review them, and it's its own weird ecosystem. It is highly enjoyable. I actually spent some time there looking at things after talking about romantasy for a while. But then this video was put across my desk. Is that, is that a thing videos can do? It was recommended to me to check out. It is straight up just called, I Promise You Will Care About This Niche TikTok Drama. It is a BookTok related thing about drama. I'm already kind of in. For those of you who are curious, this is very Gen Z coded. A lot of BookTok are people in their 20s trying to promote their books and hyping themselves up as writers and things like that. So this counts, and I can't wait to dive into this.
All right. Also, patreon.com/Crendor, youtube.com/Cox and Crendor podcast, youtube.com/Crendor. Also, so, I mean, BookTok is essentially just like, you know, a group of people hashtagging BookTok on TikTok, right? And so that's how they promote their book. That's how, you know, people share ideas about books, whatever, right? BookTok. I get it. So obviously anywhere where there's people that have gathered, there's going to be drama. So curious to see what this drama is. Maybe somebody promised something they didn't. Maybe somebody promoted a book that was bad, or, you know, did AI. I don't know. Let's find out. I'm curious.
That's a title. I Promise You Will Care is a title by NerdSync Sidekick.
Promise You Will Care.
Let's do this thing. I'm actually really excited for this because I have some basic understanding. So we're about to learn something.
All right, here we go.
What?
So this is going to be like a reaction to a reaction, essentially. Fantastic.
I didn't even get to all. Oh my god! I didn't even scroll far enough. There's still more. Oh my god! I thought I was done scrolling.
Wait, what is this?
Hi everyone. So
I had no context for any of that. I'm already excited. Also, can we go back to the very first frame? I now get to have my own Crendor moment. If you go watch Crendor react to my videos, every time he starts a video, I'm like, I look goofy as hell. He pauses on a frame that looks insane. This is that for me. It's blurry. It's got him like kind of looking.
I tried to pause, get him again. You know what I'm saying?
Big fan.
I'm not a part of BookTok at all.
Neither am I.
I make other videos on my other channel, but I care so deeply
let me turn it up a tiny
this
bit.
BookTok drama that's happening that I have annoyed my wife from talking about it so much. She doesn't know anything about it. I've been trying to explain it to her. She doesn't care, but I care, and I guarantee you will care too.
This is how I feel about
big promise.
Everything I'm into. Remedy games, Final Fantasy, all the things I enjoy. I will be like, no, but for real, let me just tell you the whole thing.
Nope, I don't care. Got him. Really though, I don't care about those things.
The whole thing. I don't think people enjoy it because I will.
Now let me rant to you about Uma Musume's strategy, you know, all the stats of the game, and then let me rant to you about Warhammer, tabletop Warhammer statistics in the meta. Right? Everybody has something they'll rant about that nobody cares about. You know what I mean? nobody cares about Nurgle's ward saves and their, stat spread. Nobody's going to care about not having enough artifacts and spells in some of my battle tomes. Like, most people are going to care more about the story, right? It's, different strokes for different folks, what they say. I don't know why I'm ranting right now. Like, is this just go on?
Spoil stuff, but I just want to talk about it so much. And if you aren't caught up to speed, I feel the overwhelming desire to catch you up. So then I can talk to you about it.
Okay.
So you understand why I'm excited about things. Like if I'm playing a game or I'm reading a book or I just saw a movie, I'll be like, you didn't see it? Oh my God. So let me tell you everything.
It is so interesting. I have to talk about it. Now, the problem is there are already a million videos about this online. I'll link
My man here feels like a millennial. So I feel like we're operating on the same wavelength of like he's catching up to it, just like how I'm catching up via him. So this is fantastic. Okay.
Yes, and I'm catching up via both of them. So this is very good. I have no idea how old he is. I feel like he's probably more Zillennial. I would say like borderline, probably still millennial, but like just hitting that Zillennial, but maybe like early 30s, if I had to guess.
Okay.
This revolves around an author named Audra Winter, who is responsible for this world that she's been crafting ever since she was 12.
My name is Audra Winter. I am the creator of the World of Guardian, which is a Zodiac-based fantasy world that I have been working on for 10 years now. My name is Audra Winter. I am the creator of the World of Guardian.
10 years? How old is it? There's no way.
Instantaneously, if somebody's been working on a world for 10 years, I'm suspicious. and it's not like Tolkien 10 years. It's not like he was like, what, like 50 into it, or like, he was like an adult, right? This is somebody who started working on this when they were 10. Like, and then you've obviously had drastic growth over those 10 years, right? There's like mental development and everything. You're like changing as a person. So many things are going to get shifted around. Like, I'm already suspicious of that. So just carry on.
She's older than, I was going to say a teenager, but I'll give her 20. So she's been working on this since she was a kid? Like a preteen? A tween, if you will?
My name is Audra Winter. I am the creator. My name is Audra Winter. My name is Audra Winter. My name is Audra Winter. I am the author of this book.
For those who are curious, this is
Audra Winter.
Mostly what BookTok is.
Oh, okay.
It's people hawking their...
I thought he was gonna say, just for people curious, this is Audra Winter. That's a Crendor thing, I guess. I think Jesse's he's more invested in the actual story. Carry on.
Book, trying to get people to buy it. They're first-time writers usually, and they're it's like teen romance or teen drama. Basically, like everything from Hunger Games-ish to 50 Shades of Grey. 50 Shades of Grey? 50 Shades of Grey to like pure actual porn. That's pretty much what it is. I've yet to see someone on there who's like, hey man, I wrote a book about JFK. It's an insightful bio series. Like that's not a thing. It's not a
That is definitely a Jesse Cox. Also, perfect pause. That is definitely a Jesse Cox book. The insights of JFK. All you need to do is like make it some sort of alien mystery on top of that, and he would be looking like this. Honestly, as somebody who's working on a book and has been working on a book and learning about writing, learning about just storytelling in general, writing a book is hard, man. Like, it's genuinely hard. And like, I obviously hope to finish my book one day and maybe write multiple books. But like, if you want to write even just like a decent book, like it's pretty difficult. Like, there's just so much to it. Like, I get George R.R. Martin, man. Maybe not taking like, 12 years to write your book, but like, it's rough.
a thing happening there.
It was released about a month ago, and I have lived through the worst week of my life because of it.
So that's a decade of world crafting.
That's you. Look, NerdSync, you're crafting this video very well. I'm getting hooked in ways I didn't think was possible. Worst week of her life? What happened?
Let's just read the website. We're going to be here for a little bit. So in their own words, the book is about this. 18-year-old Reka Spring has been determined all her life to piece together Guardian's fragmented historical record and reverse her signs, a motionless code of honor. When she finally locates an ancient archive containing classified knowledge of Guardian's history, Rika discovers a scroll.
Stop. First off, we don't even need to continue with this description. This is every Like, she was an average girl with nothing really descriptive about her, so the reader can get invested in the character and put themselves in her place. Anyway, she was told to be one thing, but the world wouldn't allow her to be the thing she really wanted to be.
Well, we didn't write it, but you know.
Also, there's 2 and/or 3 guys who are very into her, and she's got to choose, but maybe she wants all of them. But in the end, it'll be the one the fans wanted most. Anyway, there's some sort of political magic thing going on, but that's not as important as the story of a young woman coming into her own. That's every one of these books. Literally every single one of them. I love that for the fans of that. They are eating good.
Yeah, that's the thing is like another great pause. Obviously there's like, you know, templates and story structures and stuff like, and people will make fun of that. Like, obviously, we made fun of that in Cox and Crendor. But, like, there's nothing wrong with actually liking that type of thing. It's like how if I want to read a book, a lot of times I want, like, some fantasy elements. I like dragons. I like weird creatures. And, you know, I like things like Arthas or Darth Vader, like the fallen hero that's now evil. Like, I like those tropes. And a lot of people will just bash tropes just to bash them. But, like, if you take a trope and you do it well, people will enjoy it, right? It's just like people like certain tropes. You can't avoid tropes. It's just you should just have fun writing the things that you enjoy. Write the tropes that you enjoy and write them well so that people will also enjoy them just like you would, right? I think that's what it's all about. It's about making tropes your own and not really copying other things. I think that's the big thing. A lot of people will write a book and be like, this is a story about a kid that's an orphan and he's got wizard powers and he's going to go to magic school, right? It's like you could take that and kind of do your own spin on it. Like maybe the kid's not an orphan, right? Maybe they're actually part of a wealthy family. Maybe you mix it up and maybe they go to magic school and then it doesn't work out. Like there's so many different ways you can go with it and kind of keep the same feel and premise of what you're trying to get across with those tropes, but without copying something else. So anyway, there's my Crendor trope rant.
Or maybe not. I don't know.
Ooh, cool stuff. I read nonfiction, so I don't want to come across as like smug or like this sort of story is for children or whatever. It's young adult fantasy. It's, you know, whatever you want to do with it. It's not for me, but it's for a lot of people, and that's great. The problem isn't in necessarily the story itself.
The problem is, as he read that, it sounded insane. Not like the description of what's happening, but the verbiage. The way that was written, it did not sound like normal human writing. Does that make sense? I don't want to say it's AI. I don't know that's
normal
where we're going in this video.
Writing.
But it didn't sound right.
The problem with this book, and you'll forgive me for looking at some notes here.
Hold on.
It's so much to go through. So Audra was promoting it on TikTok, trying to sell the aesthetics of it.
I want to hear this again.
Let's just read the website. We're going to be here for a little bit. So in their own words, the book is about this. 18-year-old Reika Spring has been determined all her life to piece together Guardian's fragmented historical record and reverse her signs, a motionless code of honor. When she finally locates an ancient archive containing classified knowledge of Guardian's history, Reika discovers a scroll.
Stop. First off.
Wait, okay. I feel like I can't even process what I'm reading. 18-year-old Reika Spring has been determined all her life to piece together Guardian's fragmented historical record and reverse her signs, a motionless code of honor. That sentence is so much. I feel like I don't like. So Guardian is the world where the zodiac sign determined the magic fate and social status. So they're piece together Guardian's fragmented historical record and reverse her signs, a motionless code of honor. I feel like my brain's getting fried reading this. When she finally locates an ancient archive containing classified knowledge of Guardian's history, Reika discovers a scroll that reveals existence of a mythological weapon and uncovers the truth behind Scorpio Code. It's nothing more than manipulation tactic to keep Scorpio in power. Violating the code's holy orders is punishable by death, and Reika's broken the first tenet. Never show emotion. Unless she wants to be murdered, displayed anger against the law as well, she must find and prove that mythological weapon is more than story before she's killed by the hauntingly familiar assassin sent to stop her. Okay, yeah, that's just... I feel like that needed to be simplified. That needed to get ran through an editor, post-processing, like, hey, how do we like simplify this down to like something that somebody in the store is going to pick up and understand? Like, we don't need to get into the specifics, right? Like I said before, like you read like a Harry Potter thing, it's like boy, wizard, orphan gets powers. Like you don't have to go crazy with it, right? You're just giving the tropes, you're giving the premise. Or like Lord of the Rings, it's like, you know, an evil powerful ring is mistakenly placed and now it must be destroyed by the most unlikely of people, right? Like that type of thing where you're like, oh, okay, I kind of get what this book's going to be about. Not like, we don't need like the info dump analysis, right? So anyway, there's my Crendor the processing information. I needed to reread that because I was like, dude, what's going on?
For looking at some notes here, it's so much to go through. So Audra was promoting it on TikTok, trying to sell the aesthetics of it, trying to sell the world of Guardian to her followers. I think she got like hundreds of thousands of followers on TikTok. Eventually would sell pre-orders of the book. That wasn't...
How on earth did a first-time writer with nothing but TikToks...
Oh God, I see where this is going. So this is going to be one of those... She promised so much, right? She's like, this world's amazing. This book's amazing. Everything about this is amazing. It got overhyped. People are probably pre-ordering it. And then they get the book and it's like written by a 12-year-old. You know, I'm like that type of style. Like, what? Like that's kind of what I'm getting here.
Damn. She must be an incredible marketer. I don't know. Like, how would you possibly buy into someone's first book without knowing if they could write? Damn.
Another great pause. Well, I would say because you make promises, right? Like it's the same as Kickstarter. Like, why would you buy into a Kickstarter before you even know how it's going to turn out? Well, because they're good at making promises, right? Like, dude, this universe is insane. Let me tell you about my universe. People are like, yo, this shit's crazy. I can't wait to read this book. Or like, let me show you some of these characters. These characters are out of this world. Like, oh my God. And like, this is so cool. And then you start being like, this person must know what they're talking about, right? They must be good at writing if they're getting all this stuff across.
That's crazy.
And that sold somewhere between like 6,500, 7,000 pre-orders of the book on TikTok.
Hold on. I'm just going to really quickly. Amazon. I like how that's... Remember when Amazon was just books, y'all? I do.
Yep.
Amazon, let's just look up books. Hardcover, new releases in print. New releases in print, the #1, John Grisham. Still pumping out novels, huh? Well, all the hardcovers are between 15 and 20 something. Right. And the Kindle editions are 5. The only thing I can see right now that's a new release that is the Wings of Fire. That's a graphic novel. That's $10, $11. So at minimum, 7,000, right? Let's do the average.
Amazon's taking a cut.
15 maybe, right? That's at least 100 grand in pre-orders.
Yeah, but how much is Amazon taking too? I mean, that's still good, obviously.
100,000 for what I'm going to assume again is still a 20-year-old just hyping up her own stuff on TikTok. Okay, I can see how this can go south very quickly.
Again, the book wasn't finished. People were buying the sort of fantasy of it.
Also, it says Amazon's cut from book sales varies. Kindle's direct publishing platform typically takes a portion that results in either a 70% or 35% royalty for the author. Authors receive 70% for ebooks priced between $2.99 and $9.99 in eligible territories, minus delivery fee. For ebooks priced outside the range for non-eligible territories, royalties 35%. Okay, so it's pretty much 70% for $9.99. So, I mean, if we calculate again, I don't have any fancy editors to like put this up, right? But we go 7,000, right? Times, what was it? Like, we'll say like $9.99. I don't know how much the book is. You get 69,000. Nice. So, I mean, you're getting times what? 0.7. Is that how you do that? 48,000. So, I mean, I don't know. You're still getting pretty decent amount, right? That's still pretty good
idea of like the aesthetics
person that's never sold a book before in their life.
Of it. People just thought it was so interesting. Audra was selling it very well to people. You know, she's an indie author, debut book, but more than that, she was positioning herself as this sort of revolutionary force in the indie.
So she's
I
a
get so
good
many questions
marketer.
on my page every single day of how in the world did I do this? This is unheard of, and surely I am making things. And one day I would wake up to 500 orders, and the next it would be 1,000. And I was with an attorney going, "What the hell do I do about?"
With an attorney? Why? Attorneys
what? An
require
attorney?
some sort of down payment fee. So already she's paying money to have that attorney on retainer. And if the attorney's not a retainer, then that's like like a friend. But even that, I think, is like against the rules of being a lawyer.
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird.
Okay.
And here I am establishing an entire company, a digital studio,
A company, for a book?
bringing on my artists as independent contractors and employees as suddenly.
Artists? What? It's a book. Why do you need artists? Plural. Yo, I'm so confused. What is happening?
Yeah, this is
She
kind of
would say
insane.
things like, because I've been writing this book since I was 12 and I'm 22,
I was pretty close. I was thinking
guess
10
10.
and 20, but 12 and 22.
Yeah, look at
Wait,
that.
yo, this is crazy. This automatically has a million red flags because I think all of us know someone who, when we were young, was into sort of fantasy books and
That's
fantasy
what
things,
I'm
and
saying.
they started
That's what I went
crafting
over
a world
earlier.
and creating all of these like backgrounds and stories and characters and doing it in their room, and they'd write it down and they'd like fantasize about this magic, and it was kind of their own creation, and they were caught up in it. Usually most people grow out of that or are shamed out of that, then they move on with their life. And there are probably a few who are like, well, once I learned, about writing and this and this and this, I returned to that place of my youth and I brought it back and created this.
And even then, it's like, usually you look back at those ideas you had and you're like, man, I was a dumb kid, right? Like, that's usually what happens. Or you can like advance upon that story plot, which I guess is what people assumed happened, but
Sounds like from 12 to 22, she was hyper focused on this fantasy she created, which I don't think that's healthy.
No, that seems insane.
Okay.
surpassed the 10,000 hours necessary to be called a master of my craft. I'm revolutionizing this whole genre of writing.
I also very much encourage you to look up Malcolm Gladwell's The Outliers. It is a phenomenal book. Malcolm Gladwell has a theory that basically he came up with over numerous years that says it takes 10,000 hours to reach a basic level of mastery. And God knows I have done that. I have reached my 10,000 hours because ever since I was 12 years old, I have spent 3 hours or more every single day without failure this whole time, the whole 10 years in Guardian.
Now, I know Malcolm Gladwell. He made the matchbook. Oh, hold on. What's it called? He's the marketer guy, right? Yo, Tipping Point. Yeah, he made Tipping Point. And it's the Revenge of the Tipping Point. It's got like a match on it. I knew there was a matchbook on one of his books. And I believe I also read another Malcolm Gladwell book. Oh my God, what was it? Malcolm Gladwell books. He's just a marketer guy, right? And I mean, if you say, he's got some decent marketing stuff, but everybody's got their own opinions. Not everything's like truth or like great, but he's like pretty good. But at the same time, she's taking this and saying, I'm putting 10,000 hours into mastery. It needs 10,000 hours for mastery. But at the same time, just because you put that amount of time into something doesn't make you good, right? Just because you, as a person, put 10,000 hours into playing basketball doesn't make you LeBron James. It doesn't make you an NBA player. It means you're better at basketball than you would have been had you not been practicing all those hours, right? Like, that's all it means. And sure, it probably makes you a better writer, a better author, but at the same time, if you do the same thing over and over and you don't learn anything new and you're not like progressing your craft and you're not like taking in new ideas and growing, then you're kind of just working just to work. Like, you're putting like empty hours into something, right? I always kind of went over this where I was like, if you have a garden and you water that garden and you take care of the garden, but you don't plant any seeds, you're doing nothing. You're watering dirt, right? Like, you need to constantly be like planting new seeds and helping those things grow and trying new plants and new vegetables and learning how different things grow. But some people will take that and be like, dude, I watered my dirt for 10,000 hours. Why am I not successful? It's like, dude, you have to, right? Like, you can't just work just to do, like, you have to have some sort of like direction and ability to learn and progress and like all these different things. Anyway.
Like, I've been developing Guardian for over 3 hours every single day for 10 years of my life.
No way. I don't believe that for a minute. Every single day, 3 hours a day? I refuse.
That's also pretty insane too.
There's no conceivable way that's true.
She sold so many pre-orders based off of effectively nothing, really just pumped her up even more, thinking that she was the best there's ever been, and she hasn't even published anything yet. So that already was rubbing people the wrong way. But then the book came out.
Okay, first off, before he lambasts this book, which you can see it coming a mile away, I've been really up on this sort of anticipatory joy thing lately, where, you know, games like Star Citizen, where like people are buying ships, they're invested in what it could be. And even though right now it's barely a thing, people will tell you how amazing it is and how it's gonna be so good. They're invested in the future of the potential of it. And that's the same thing here. I think all these people who pre-ordered were hyped on what it could be and not really thinking about what it would be. Very Jurassic Parky. All right, yeah.
Also, I remember reading a story somewhere, I think when I was learning about writing stuff, about someone, I don't know if it was on Goodreads or something like that, where this girl would always like bash books and be like, these books suck, I'm writing my own book, it's gonna be amazing. And she would be like, just wait. And then she wrote her book and it like actually sucked. And then she like disappeared or something like that. Maybe she was a YouTuber. It was something like that. And then she resurfaced like years later being like, people don't even understand, like something like that. So like there's some crazy like authors and stuff like that out there. Just not even just authors, just people.
Okay.
But we know that.
It wasn't very good.
Yeah, I figured.
Really
Yep.
bad. And not even on a story level. Like story level for sure, a lot of people have issues with it. There's a great review by Reads with Rachel, I'll link below. Again, I have so many videos, go watch them. They're all great. I've been so obsessed with this story. So the story is lackluster, that's bad enough. But the real issue that people have is that just on a line level, the book feels like a first draft. Or worse than a first draft. There are sentences that are repeated, like in one paragraph, and then over here in another paragraph shortly after.
What do you
Feels very
mean?
redundant. Some of the punctuation and grammar is wrong. The word choice.
She might just, maybe she hired an attorney, she hired artists, she should have just hired another editor, dude. There's her problem.
She's using words that don't mean what she thinks it means. Tons of errors.
Are we gonna get into this? I understand not wanting to cover the book. That's fine. I don't particularly care what the book's about. But all these other things I need to know. What do you mean?
It was hard to review the book because it was hard to get through it. You couldn't read. It was so hard to read. Meanwhile, again, Audra has been saying she's been writing this world for 10 years.
Right.
She has written and rewritten this book so many times, but she's not really editing the book. She's just, whenever she needs to do a second draft, she's just rewriting it from scratch.
What do you mean? That doesn't make any sense. That literally makes, what a waste of time. Maybe that is how you get 3 hours a day.
Dude, I told you, this is what I mean. If you're not using your time correctly, like it doesn't matter. Also, I think what I've learned from even just learning about writing and trying to improve my writing and everything is that just because you have a crazy good world or really good, you know, characters, that doesn't mean the story's going to be good. Like story itself is just hard to do. Like a lot of people will be like, I have this great world, I've world built, they do so much world building, but just because you've built a world doesn't mean you're going to have a good story. It means you'll just have a cool world, right? Like world building is world building, storytelling. You can have a great story without world building anything, to be honest. And I mean, you can world build along the way and kind of create the illusion of a world, and people be like, whoa, I could see so much stuff behind this, but like they might have not put any effort into their world building, right? Like you don't need to really do a bunch of world building to have a great story. I do think you need to do some world building, right? I'm not saying like world building's meaningless. I'm just saying that you can tell a good story without a whole lot of world building and kind of just have it speak for itself and develop over time and stuff, and have people almost like create the world in their mind. I think that happens to a lot of things that have more of mysterious, lackadaisical world building. While if you world build and then you have a bad story, then it's just a bad story, right? But you know, that's why they're kind of just viewed as two different things. So carry on.
Every day for 10 years.
Rather than editing and revising what she's already written, which people have said is not a great practice.
No. In fact, I just remembered the quote. Brandon Sanderson actually had this quote where he said, if you do a bunch of world building without a good story, you're essentially just writing an encyclopedia. Which is true. Like you're pretty much just info dumping your world building, and you just have no story, and you're just writing quite literally an encyclopedia, which, like, if that's what you're going for, that's fine. It's just, you know, most people are not.
Really remember what you did right and didn't right. There are story, plot points that you drop and forget to pick up later because you're not revising what you've written. You're starting again from scratch to see if you can do it better this time.
I've never heard of that. Ever.
But on that note of editing, this has been a huge point of contention. So very early on, before the book sold, Audra was saying a very specific phrase, which I believe was she had worked with the developmental editor who published The Hunger Games. Now, I didn't know this because I'm not in the publishing world or the writing world, really.
Neither
The
am I.
developmental editor is, someone who really focuses on the big picture of the book rather than the, line to line, is this grammar okay? Is the word choice okay? This is someone who, they try to help with the coherence of, like, the character development and themes, pacing, overall narrative. So Audra's saying that she...
Someone you want on your side from the beginning, basically. Someone you send drafts to, you have a back and forth with as the book is created, and I assume when it's done, you hand it to them, they go through it, they hand it back and forth, da-da-da.
Worked with the developmental editor who published The Hunger Games, made people understandably think that her book, Age of Scorpius, was developmentally edited by the same person who also developmentally edited
Where is this
The
going?
Hunger Games.
Where is
Not
this going?
true.
Yeah, no
Turns
sound in
out.
it.
I just don't know why I'm so interested in this story. It's like rejuvenating me from my slump this year. It's
I'm into it too. And this is not a world I care about, but it's fascinating.
so fascinating. The
Ah!
I mean, I think the biggest thing here is that it's a disaster, right? Like it's a thing where this girl is like, I'm the best author you've ever seen. I'm an unbelievable author, the best author, right? And then so many promises. It's going to be great. People buy into it, and then it just crashes and burns. And I think, people can't look away from a car crash, right? It's, you see it, this book crash, this author, all these things crashed and burned. You're just like, what's going on over there, right? People want to instinctively look like, I need to see what's going on. I think that's why everyone's interested.
Go on.
Audra Winter worked with a developmental editor who was the marketing editor, or someone who worked in the marketing for Hunger Games, which is
That
a
checks out.
different job. We're talking about two different people here, right? The developmental editor for the Hunger Games had nothing to do with Age of Scorpius or
Right.
World of Guardian or
Right.
anything like that. Rather, someone who did some of the marketing for some portion of Hunger Games worked, I guess, as a developmental editor for Age of Scorpius. But I also want to stress that editor didn't tell Audra that the book was good. She said that the book was hard to follow and not ready for the world. And Audra said, cool, I'm not going to quote you on that, but I will sort of twist this whole narrative around to make it seem like
boy.
I got a stamp of approval from someone else who isn't you. It's so wild. Anyway,
Wait, so how do we know this information? I assume it's come out, or this person spoke out. That's fascinating. That the one editor was like, no, this isn't good. And she was like, screw you, I'm using your name.
Yeah, that's
That's
insane.
crazy.
would you believe me if I told you that the book was just absolutely review bombed? Not review bombed in like a malicious way. but
Review
just,
earned.
It was bad,
Okay.
and people started reviewing it badly. That is
Yeah.
an
Oh god, is she gonna be like, the haters are out in full force? This is gonna be one of those.
extremely brief summary that brings us up to not even today, but just like a couple weeks ago, as we look into some TikToks from Audra Winter that I want to show you real quick, because I've left out one important detail.
Oh, so we're getting into the aftermath of all this. Okay, so this
All
is
right.
where it actually, this is why you will care.
That is really the reason why I'm making this video.
Oh, boy.
Right.
Because I feel like I have a perspective on it, but let's watch some TikToks, shall we? So this
Yes.
TikTok comes,
Yes.
I believe, right after the reviews came out and the book was seen, rightfully so, is not very good. So this is Audra's response.
My name is Audra Winter. I am the author of this book. It was released about a month ago, and I have lived through the worst week of my life because of it in the past week. And I just wanted to come on here and talk about it, and be genuine and express the things that I have been through in the past week, because I'm literally living through my worst nightmare and my biggest.
All right. Apologies to Audra Winter for a minute. I just want to say for the record, I realized the unintentional hilarity of me silently watching a man silently watch a TikTok.
Now think of me.
That's about as meta as you can get.
If you're not
No,
familiar,
I think I'm more meta
have
right now, to
spent
be
a
honest.
very long time working on this world that I started building when I was 12, and I'm 20.
I just want to pause sort of immediately. This is a theme that we're going to see with Audra moving forward.
Yeah, I can
and
see
really
that.
throughout is this reliance on this idea that I've been working on this for so long that
Yeah, it comes down to, like, how could people do this to me, right? Like, I've been working on this for so long. You should like this. It's almost like, because I've put so much time and effort into this, I deserve your good reviews and your praise or whatever. And when it doesn't happen, right, it's just like their worldview of what they wanted just crashes, right? It's all gone. It's right. It's burning up. But I mean, the world doesn't owe you anything is what it boils down to. Like, people don't owe you anything, right? And that's just life. Anyway.
it must be good. And I don't want to show
Right.
my hand too early, but this is sort of a weird capitalist brain way of thinking, you know? It's the reason why
Where are we
people
going?
hate things like
Where are we
the
going?
banana taped to a wall being art, because it's like, well, where's the work that went into that to make it art?
Right.
Why haven't you been working on that banana taped to a wall since you were 12? You have to put 10,000 hours in.
God knows I have done that.
Let's continue.
Interesting. All right. I think I see where this is going.
This is going down the Frank Grimes path of The Simpsons, where he's just like, Simpson, you have a family, you got a house, you're eating lobster for dinner. And then Homer's just like, ha ha, yeah. And then Frank Grimes loses his mind, right? We're getting to that type of territory.
But also, I just want to really quickly jump in and say, the time you spend on a thing does not necessarily equate to success.
Yep.
Some people get 33 million subscribers. It took me 10 years, more than that, to get 1 million subscribers. I don't think I deserve that, but I busted my ass to get that. You know, the idea that I put in the time, so that should be given to me. Or the people are like, I put in 5 years of YouTube and I don't have this success or whatever. You can't look at creativity that way.
It is the only thing that has stayed consistent in my life. It is the only thing that I have been able to lean on.
And I mean, you can't really, not even just creativity, just anything that way, right? Like, I've done so many things to try and do this thing and it's not working, or like I've put so much time into whatever it might be. Like, it could literally be anything. Like, it doesn't have to just be a creative thing.
Every single night and say, hey, at the end of the day, I have this and I have these stories. And it means a lot to me.
That's the remember going back to what we were talking about like the 12-year-old or 10-year-old crafting their world. Then they move on, and then maybe if they come back to it later when they're a writer. This is the danger of not doing that. If it is true that she spent 3 hours a day and it's been 10 years, this is something that is intrinsically tied to her personality.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, is like, this book, if she's been doing this for 3 hours a day since she was 12, like, this is part of her being. This is like an actual giant chunk of her life that is tied into this thing. And so when that thing is now destroyed or just made fun of and obliterated, it's almost like you've taken a piece of her soul and just crushed it, right? And I can see how that would be extremely detrimental and stressful and feel like a nightmare. But at the same time, you're like promising shit that's not true, right? So it's like there's two sides to this coin, you know?
This is like when an MMORPG fan gets really upset about a change in the game because they've been playing it for 15 years. And it's like, but this is my thing, and you ruined my thing. Or Star Wars fans or Marvel fans that have decades-long sort of like love for a thing, and then as it changes or warps, or if something bad comes out, it affects them on a deep, deep level. This is kind of like the Snyderverse versus the new DCU kind of stuff. When you watch the Snyderverse fans just outraged that what they loved is gone now. It's that kind of thing. It's Not healthy, that's for sure.
This
Nope.
is not just a hobby. It is quite literally my entire life now.
That line right there. It is
Yeah.
quite literally my entire life.
That's
is,
not
I think,
good.
The problem. Look, I've been making YouTube videos for over 10 years. I've been making YouTube videos longer than World of Guardian and Age of Scorpius has been alive. So that makes me a real artist.
God knows I have done that.
No, but
We're on the same page. We're on the same damn page.
Yep.
for me, this isn't my life.
Right.
16 years,
Job.
buddy.
This
Yeah.
is a fun thing I get to do.
Yeehaw.
Yes.
It is also a thing that pays the bills, so I have to.
And when I leave this office, I disconnect. And I'll go and maybe I'll play a game for myself, or I'll read a book, or I'll watch TV. These days, I'm trying to work out more. Like, I will do things that are not this, which is also why when I watch videos of people who just walk around with a camera on them all the time, and I'm like, what are we doing? Not everything you do needs to be filmed. Anyway, I'll just let him tell it, because I feel like we're saying the same thing.
You have to have a life outside of your job. And I understand that I'm privileged. I make goofy videos for a living. But even I, especially this year, got stressed and got anxious about every single thing I'm putting out there in the world. I forced myself to sit down and make these like reaction commentary style things because otherwise I'm going to think too hard about every sentence I say, every line that I write, every piece of information that I research, and then I get nothing done. How many video essays have I made this year? Maybe one?
I'm gonna look up NerdSync. I don't know a damn thing about you. I don't know about your main channel. I know nothing. I am 100% in. You seem like a chill-ass dude. Okay. Also, Scooby-Doo shirt rocks. Anyway.
We can't just have this be our life because then when things are bad, when things are received poorly, then we feel like we as a person are being perceived poorly. If people don't like our work, it feels like people don't like us.
Yeah.
But you're not. Your value as a person is not determined by your work or how people perceive your work to be. Your value as a person is you're a person. You know what I mean? Be a good person. Be a nice person. Be someone people like. It doesn't matter if your work is bad. I've made videos in the past I hate. This might be one of them. But my value is not determined by how many views this video gets or if people hate it because I'm not bringing anything new to this topic that's been discussed for ages. I just don't think my fans have heard about this story, so I just wanted to tell you all about it.
Have I
Another great pause. I mean, I kind of agree, but I also kind of disagree to an extent. And let me explain why. I think number one, I think there is some sort of deeper, like, I don't want to say like problem, but like there's an issue, I think. Maybe this is a way she's coping with stress, right? Like we don't really know. Like maybe this is like somebody in her family like passed away she was close to. And so she like hooked on to this as like a coping mechanism, right? She's not just doing this as like I started a YouTube channel, I started a book thing, and now I'm just writing and writing, right? I feel like there's some underlying issue that we might not ever really find out, but I could see that as a thing of like, how am I going to cope with some, maybe even trauma that's happening? And then she just I'll fall back on my world that I'm creating, right? You're creating this world to escape reality. And so I think it just so happened that as she progressively works on this world over the years, then is like, hey, maybe I can start selling my world that I've put so much time and effort into that's helped me escape reality. And then we get caught up in all this mess that we're currently in, right? That's kind of my theory on it. I have no idea if that's actually true. She might just have a great upbringing and like just, really been in the right in her thing, right? I don't know. At the same time, I think it's also easy to just say, be a good person, do all these things, and then, don't attach yourself to whatever it is. But like when we create something, when we say something, we are projecting a piece of ourselves into the world, right? And it's the same reason why if somebody tweets out something or says something at a place and goes like, hey, you know what? I like this thing. And someone goes, that's dumb, right? We might say like, oh, whatever, just shrug it up. But there's still a part of you that's like, what an idiot. Like, why would they think that's dumb, right? There's still a visceral reaction to that almost of just like, what are you talking about, right? Like, I just like the thing that I like, right? And it's the same with like somebody makes a video and they say, here's my video. And then people say it gets like 90% likes, but 10% dislikes. And you're going to be like, well, who disliked this, right? Who disliked this thing that I put time and effort into? And I feel like it's one thing to obsess and ruminate over that type of thing, right? Because I think it's a normal reaction to be like, hey, you know what? Like, people didn't like what I liked. And if more than normal amounts of people dislike something, then maybe they are onto something. Maybe something is off here. Maybe I am trying something new. Maybe something isn't working. But I think that it's a normal reaction to, you know, create stuff and then be like, it sucks that people don't like it, or people don't like what I'm saying, or people don't agree with me. But it's how you move on after that and say, hey, you know what? But it is what it is, right? That's just part of life. Nobody's ever going to agree with you 100%. People are going to like you. People are going to dislike you. You just, you know, that's what it is. That's life, right? Anyway.
Found a new YouTuber I must watch now.
I have no escape from this, and I don't need.
No, you do, but you actually do need, you actually do need an escape from it. I'm sorry. You do, though. We all do.
She does.
That's why I have an office. And
Again, that's kind of what I'm thinking, is that this was her escape. You know what I mean? Like, I really think that's what it could be. Like, this was her escape. The fact that she even started this at like 12 years old, right? I feel like this was her escape from school or problems, or whatever it might be. And that escape essentially became her job and what she's been working on to, you know, eventually be like, yo, maybe I'm going to be a big author. And now, not only has that taken a hit, but her escape on top of this has also been destroyed. So, I mean, I can kind of see it, right?
an apartment. The office is where I work, and I go home and I don't work. You need an escape. Yes. But again, she's 22. I don't think she understands this. She's caught up in it. She had instant success based off nothing. Her ego is now affixed to the property she has created. This is something she truly believes in, and no one can convince her otherwise. I'm fully expecting him to be like, there was no book. She made it all up and then tried to write it in a week before publishing. Like, I would believe that. I would believe that. Man, I almost feel bad for her. When I
would say she more did world building than she did storytelling.
I was starting out,
Another
all
great
the
pause.
Minecraft YouTubers, everyone who was associated with that, or all the Five Nights at Freddy's YouTubers, or the people that were very hyper-focused on a thing. When they became associated with that thing, depending on how it went, or how they created stuff, like, no matter what, it usually ended dramatically. We'll leave it at that.
It's not bad to say, I want to take a break from this thing that I like. I used to make videos exclusively about comic books and superheroes, and then I got burned out from it, and I started making videos about Scooby-Doo, of all things, something that I thought I was the only one who cared about. Turns out, far from it. People care about it way more than I do, and I love it. And it was so refreshing to take a step away from this thing that I defined my whole life around for literally 10 years. Just like you. Literally 10 years. Also, I'm saying you like I'm addressing Audra. If Audra's watching, don't watch.
Are you addressing me?
Videos that criticize you.
Are we becoming best friends?
But my point is, I have made videos about a specific topic for 10 years, and I was so passionate about it. And then I needed a break, and it rejuvenated a lot of the stuff that I find really awesome about this job that I get to do.
Yeah.
When did this video turn into like a very sincere, genuine
It's
thing?
connecting with me.
Also, this TikTok is like 15 minutes long. We can't react to all of this. Another thing I forgot to touch on as well.
He says, as I am 15 minutes into his video.
Dude, I'm at
Audra was
48
really
minutes of a
defensive
43.
in
Oh
a
my
lot of
god.
places. One of the things is
a
her
giant
main
video, man.
character is neurodivergent. Same, but because it's written from first person perspective, there are a lot of run-on sentences. Again, these repeated sentences
I
that
hate
happen
first-person
in
books.
one
Wait,
paragraph and then repeat
That's
in another
not,
paragraph.
that's not my like
words
making fun of the book, but I just hate first person. I have to read third person. I can't do first person.
that don't make sense, things like that. And Audra would defend that by saying, well, my protagonist, the center point of the story, the narrator of the story is neurodivergent, so not every sentence has to make sense.
All right, that's pretty insane.
First off, I wasn't aware that was a thing you could do. My terrible writing is because my point of view character would write terribly.
That's kind of a big time code.
That is an excuse.
Are you a perfect storyteller in your head? Don't you ever repeat words in sentences? It's like, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I think that's a pretty weak defense.
Very.
Personally. And a lot
Yeah.
of people
Yeah.
do. It feels like she's just trying to defend bad writing by saying, no, I'm not a bad writer. My character is just a bad speaker internally. But then the other issue then is that other characters outside of the main protagonist also have those faults when they speak. So no, it's not just the main character, it's every character.
No, but it's through the main character's lens.
Anyway, we're finally at the point that I want to bring you to. This is the thing that forced
We're
me to
finally
make this
here.
video.
Oh my god.
God.
All right, here we go.
Because I was just like shouting at my screen when I saw this. Hit it.
Oh boy.
Yes, Audra.
I believe I've been improperly introduced to you. I'm a 22-year-old entrepreneur, writer, and naturalist. Some of my favorite things are wolves, ecology, my dog, the ocean, and, of course, writing. You probably know me from that last one. In the past month or so, I have become known for what is literally my worst nightmare. So obviously, we took some time to calm down and talk with the studio and make some plans, hire...
What do you mean the studio? Also, did she say she's an entrepreneur first before writer? Because that's starting to check out.
Yeah,
Couple
that's
things I noticed. Number one,
That's a classic.
She always introduces herself as an entrepreneur first, and you might be thinking, why? Because I didn't cover it yet. But then you may have noticed that she said, we talked with the studio. Now that's interesting. This is the thing that I sort of teased earlier that I was going to bring out later. With the money from the pre-orders that she got, she set up some sort of creative studio for World of Guardian. She thinks that it's going to be this big cultural thing, like the Hunger Games or what have you, like a Harry Potter. I don't know. She thinks it's going to be the next big thing. World of Guardian. I got the pre-orders. I got the money from that. The book isn't even done yet, but I am going to set up an entire creative studio. What do I mean by an entire
so she's delusional.
Yes,
creative
please
studio?
tell me.
What do I mean by that? Great question. Let me just go
Glad
back
I
again
asked it.
to the World of Guardian website. See this little tab right here that says Meet the Team? Now, how many? Just take a wild guess. For an indie author, how many team members do you think there are?
Editor, writer, publisher, maybe? Cover artist, maybe someone that's like the keeper of all the knowledge, the lore master, right? Because you probably would need someone to collate all the lore as you get deeper into the books. 5. Let's
It's probably gonna be like 20 people. Let's be real.
say 5. That seems already too many for a first-time author writing one book. But we'll say 5 on the team.
I don't care what you wrote, you're wrong. Because, first of all, obviously, Audra Winter. And then we have all of these people. We have an editor, thank God. But this is, I will say, new person, this editor.
So, post-book release editor. What sense does that make? Okay.
How about everyone else? An art director and illustrator. Okay, sure. Book covers. Maybe some art here and there to help sell the book. Absolutely. I mean, this website is nicely designed. Concept artist, another illustrator. Okay. Project manager and illustrator.
Stop. I'm going to assume these are all just fans or people that sent in art and she couldn't decide between them, so she just put them all on the team, maybe? I don't think any of these people are being paid. Like, she got some money, but I don't think she got to, like, pay
Yeah, I don't know
9
about that.
people's worth of money.
Formatter and illustrator. Character artist, designer.
That doesn't make any
character
sense.
artist, designer.
Animator,
and
animator.
illustrator.
Animator for what?
And another character artist. I want to remind you, this is a novel. This is a book with words.
Also, since most of these people are like Bam, Pastaway, Bug, they're fans. These are their screen names. Yeah, okay. I don't think they're being paid.
They're probably not.
I
being
think these
paid,
are just
though.
people who are fans of
Yeah.
hers that she said, oh yeah, we're gonna make a thing, and they probably all go in a Discord together, and this is probably the most friends she's ever had, is the vibe I'm getting. And they're all, you know, they want to be friends with the next big thing person, and she's excited people care. This is less of employees and more like her selected cool kids.
Yeah, I
Why
can
do
see that.
you have so many illustrators and character artists and an animator on your team?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Why is it a team? I didn't even get to all. Oh my god, I didn't even scroll far enough. There's still more.
The beginning makes sense now.
Oh my god, there's a landscape artist, a concept artist, another landscape artist, another fucking illustrator, and
How,
another character
dude?
artist. I thought I was done scrolling.
One, this reminds me of way back in the day in the early 2000s, where and honestly, a lot of the voice actors you know and love right now were on something called the Voice Actors Alliance. Or there was the Voiceover Guild. There were a bunch of different things that were online at the time. There were forums, and people would post like their anime dubs. They'd post radio plays, voiceover things for various video games. I remember I did one that was like a voiceover thing for Vagrant Story. At that time, people would make studios. And it wasn't a studio of like, we're all getting paid. It was, if you hire me to do the dub for your thing, or not even hire, just, I'm gonna do a dub and these are the people that I'm gonna use. And so it'd be like, studio, Cool Kid presents. That's what it would be. This feels very much like that.
It is absolutely baffling that you would need this many people for a book with words. You have one editor for the words. You have 400 artists. I can't get over that.
So obviously we took some time to calm down and talk with the studio and make some plans, hire an editor. So now.
So again, I want to.
The editor after the fact is
now,
wild. Yeah.
After the book was sold, now I'm hiring an editor.
That's weird.
Editors new.
Yeah.
When she said I've been writing about this, I bet she did like a world Bible, or she has like a notebook filled with
Yeah,
little
that's what
notes
I'm
and
saying.
scribbles. I don't think she actually wrote the book over 10 years. I don't think that happened.
I can't.
No, she was definitely world building over 10 years. Maybe writing little chapters here and there. Maybe putting a book together and then being like, oh, that's bad, then redoing it. But yeah, this is pretty insane. Like, there's definitely some delusional stuff happening.
Can't stress that enough.
Let me tell you exactly what my goal is, what my intentions are, and who I am. I'm a full-time author and founder of a creative studio with artists from across the world all working to develop a literature-based multimedia series centered around the Zodiac-based fantasy world that I began developing when I was 12. I want my novels to be a blend of narrative prose and artistic storytelling. My chapters are written out like a normal fiction book, but there are also critical parts of the story that are told by illustration.
What?
My aim is to uphold artistic kinship, collaboration, imagination, and innovation.
Yikes to all those words. That is she really is corporation first, because that's some corpo speak right there.
That
But
sure
I think
is.
I know what he's going to say. I'm going to let him say this because art plus words.
This focus on art, having so many artists saying that there are going to be key moments in your book that are only delivered via art, not prose.
We're on the same
And, like,
page.
this idea of, artistic kinship, whatever that means to you. I saw this TikTok, and after knowing everything else that has gone on so far, especially with the studio, all of the different artists, the fact that her writing just isn't very good, I was listening to this TikTok. And I screamed out loud to myself, just make a comic book.
Yeah, comic book. Exactly.
Do it. Seriously, you have so many artists. You're clearly so interested in the
just make a
aesthetic.
comic. Oh, do you think it's one of those things where she thinks that writing is more prestigious?
I don't even think it's a bad idea per se. Like, I think it probably can be done, but I think it can be done by somebody that actually knows what they're doing, right? I feel like it probably has been done where somebody writes something and then also has like illustrations of like certain things. Maybe not. Yeah, obviously, there's been like books with illustrations of what's happening in the story on the page and stuff like that, right? But there's probably somebody that could do this and be like, oh, here's the thing, and then been like, and then there was a battle, and then actually have like pictures of the battle and the battle happening. I think that would actually be pretty cool. Right? And then afterwards, they're like, oh, now we talk about what just happened, like this battle and stuff. Like, I actually think it has potential, but you need to do it well. Much like anything you're going to do, whether it's writing, drawing, illustrating, whatever it might be, you need to do it well. And the problem is, I don't think they're going to do it well.
right? Like, a lot of people think movies are above TV. So if you're a movie star, you're better than a TV star, like that kind of thing. A lot of people still feel that way. And it's kind of like movie, TV, YouTube is the very bottom. And this is, writer, and then
I love it
maybe
down here.
graphic novelist, and then comic book writer. Oh, this is so funny. Make a comic book. You've got all the lore, just change the way you're doing it.
Writing line by line, especially descriptors of things. That was another critique of her writing I saw, was that the way that she describes things is so adjective heavy and so full of like purple prose, which, good news, is something that you can easily avoid if you just make a comic book.
You have the
You don't have
images.
to describe the world.
Because it's
Again, I don't think she wants to do that, right? And I think they kind of touched on this, but like people want to write a novel, right? People like that really is the thing. People want to write a novel. They're like, people are going to make movies out of my novel. They're going to make merchandise out of my novel. They're going to do so many things with my novel, right? That's kind of like a dream of so many people. But then once you start writing, you realize how difficult it is to actually write. And I think that's kind of also what we're getting at here is like, it's hard to write a book, man.
right there.
The characters see. You just have one of your dozen artists draw it for you. I'm shaking kicked my desk. I'm so excited. Just make a comic book. Make a graphic novel. Now I say just do it as if it's the easiest thing in the world. It's obviously still.
But she's got the team there.
The right artists.
She does
Some
have the
artists are
team.
really great at just drawing characters or drawing individual scenes, but they might not know the way that a comic book should flow from panel to panel and things like that. And there's a lot of other artists that you need to work with that you're maybe not used to work with, like letterers, for example. I get it. It's still a shift in what you're doing, but it's really not that big of a shift. You have so many artists. And you're determined for this to be some sort of multimedia series as well. Like that's what you want. You want it to be a multimedia franchise in the world of Guardian. Just make a comic book, make a graphic novel.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. We both know she's not gonna. This whole time, I've showed you several TikToks, and maybe it wasn't enough to paint the full picture of Audra Winter, but as someone who's seen hours and hours of Audra Winter content at this point, I can tell you the way that she talks about being an author, it's like the most prestigious thing in the world to her. And I get it.
Yeah.
There is this
Like I was
air
saying.
about it. You know, it's nice to be able to put published author.
Yeah, or
in,
New
like,
York
your
Times
bio
bestseller or that kind of thing.
on
Yeah.
Instagram or what have you. Yeah, it feels accomplished in a very old school kind of a way that's still relevant today, especially if you can put that you're a best-selling novelist, right? Comic books, on the other hand, and you know me, I love comic books. I read comic books all the time. That used to be.
I mean, it also reminds me of people, they'll do this for numerous other types of jobs. People will give themselves a title greater than what they are, right? They'll be like, I'm a movie specialist, a film buff enthusiast, and a whatever, and they just like work at Best Buy in the movie department, like that type of thing. I mean, people also do this on YouTube and Twitch all the time. I've seen numerous people where they're just like, you know, full-time streamer, loved by everybody, all these things, and they have like 90 followers, right? And it's like sometimes people just try to be something that they're not, you know? And it's like, there's no shame in trying something, but if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But I think sometimes it's like I said, if you've put your whole life into this and then it doesn't work out, it's like, that can't happen. We need to make this work, right? Like it can be extremely disheartening, and you know, especially if it's like truly a part of yourself that you've put into this. So I can see both sides, but I do think she's definitely a little delusional, maybe a lot of delusional, and probably not very good at writing, but just thinks her idea is fantastic, right? Like that's kind of the vibe I get.
My thing. But comic books still, unfortunately, have this vibe about them, this air about them, that they're less important.
What was I saying?
Than writing the next great American novel or whatever. And that's a shame. And I think if you really believe in this world, I'm saying you again, like I'm addressing Audra, but you know, this goes to anyone. If you really believe in the world that you're creating, in the characters that you're creating, in the story that you're crafting, then maybe it's worth examining if a book, if a novel is the right way to go. You clearly love working with all these artists. You love seeing your work come to life in front of your eyes, in front of readers' eyes, potential readers' eyes, rather. You love being able to market it based off of imagery. You know what's a great thing you can market based off of imagery more than most things? It would be a comic book, or again, just a graphic novel if you still want to have that sort of air of pretense
also,
about your.
I would feel like she would just, if she really wants to be an author, just get better at writing, right? Like, just put the time and effort into getting better at writing and learning. I feel like she's probably not doing that, or not really absorbing the information very well to get better at writing. Like, I don't know, man. I feel like there's so many different variables to this story that it really is pretty insane. But I do think she's probably more involved with her world rather than the storytelling, kind of like what I got into, right? Where it almost ends up like she just wants to write an encyclopedia about her world, right? And I feel like that's kind of the thing. If you look at actual published authors, big authors, they'll work on kind of their main thing that they love, right? They're like, I've been working on this since I was a kid, but then they write other books, they write other genres, they write short stories, right? They're constantly writing different things and working on different stuff, right? And so I feel like she's just stuck on this one thing, and like, this is the only thing I can write. I only want to write this thing. I only want to work on this world because it's so important to me and all this stuff. But like, to be an author, I feel like you need to do other stuff and like kind of expand your craft and expand your horizons, so that can also feed back into just the stuff that you do want to write the most. You know what I mean? So anyway.
Yes, I wrote a graphic novel. You could still call yourself a novelist at that point if you wanted to. You could still call yourself a published author even. It seems like she never even once thought about just doing a comic book. She had it in her head since she was 12 that she was going to write the next great novel, and stuck with that forever, but then did nothing to facilitate its success. You hired so many different artists, and you talked to an editor who said, this book isn't ready, and then you published it anyway, and then only after publishing it did you hire an editor. I cannot get enough of this story. I cannot wait to see what happens next. Hopefully only good stuff, though. I want to see a comeback. I think we all want to see.
Sure, I hope for everyone's success in life, but some people are delusional.
God, I didn't even talk about the fact that Audra was like in denial over all the poor reviews of her book at the start.
I mean,
like, just basically saying that people loved her book and only had glowing reviews until one other person gave it a negative review, and then now everything that's bad that's happened is because
the classic,
of that one.
like, the haters are out, I guess.
Of Kitchen Nightmares where Gordon goes to Amy's Baking Company. It has strong that vibes. Like, they're giving us
the
bad
Amy's Baking
reviews.
Company.
It's the bad reviewers.
That one TikTok.
It does give
one
Amy's
bad
Baking
review,
Company
and then everyone's sort of dogpiling on Audra's book. So it's not actually because her book is bad. It's because peer pressure, I guess. I don't know. I should wrap up this video, but the last thing that I will say is this. If you are my wife, Emily, oh, I got you, baby. I told you I would make you care about this. You watched like, what, 20, 30 minutes of me talking about this again? I told you it's interesting.
Yes! That was an awesome video. That was fantastic. That
was pretty good video.
This is the kind of stuff I want to watch. That was so good. I now want to deep dive this in a way that I am not wanting to deep dive much in a long time. Not too old for this. Although...
Well, I think
I may
Jesse,
be too old for BookTok. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I love that video.
He's
I
too old
love
for
that.
BookTok, but
That
he's
was
not
great.
too old for drama. Jesse loves drama. He loves his internet drama. I will say, I decided to look into it. It appears that to make it right, they are redoing the entire book, hiring on 2 editors into their studio and utilizing a unique collaboration revision process between artists, writers, and editors to make The Age of Scorpius the absolute best it can be. So they are quite literally redoing the entire book. That is insane, man. Either way, wow, this is an hour and 8 minutes of me reacting. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Yeehaw, and I'll see you next time. Okay? Okay. See ya.